Arte Casa scientists have actually developed a new type of paint that is both waterproof, non-toxic, and it doesn't smell. So Arte Casa is very environmentally friendly, and it is truly one of a kind.
Like Maddie said, it's environmentally friendly, and it has gardens on top of the roofs. And it mainly provides food, and also has glass around it so that the flying animals can't get to it. And also, Arte Casa doesn't have very much water pollution because of our excellent water management system. And how it works is that there are grates along the curbs that separate the water from the garbage, and then the water goes down and it hits a rotating wheel and it generates electricity, and then it goes into the water treatment facility, and then some of it is gone back to the city for drinking, and then some of it is back to the river. Sometimes the garbage can escape into the river, and so the solution to that is that we have divers that come and pick it up, and there are also scientists that take samples of it to test its cleanliness.
So in our city, we want to make sure our citizens are safe. So in case of a fire, there are sprinklers attached to every ceiling so that if the temperature reaches 110 degrees, it will put out the fire. And then in case of a nuclear bomb, there are doors that lead 2 miles underground to rooms filled with food, water, medicine supplies, and oxygen tanks and gas tanks. If the situation is so serious that they have to leave, but they can't go back up, there's a tunnel that can take them to the next city.
The main type of transportation in Arte Casa is hover vehicles, and these are vehicles that have a magnet on the bottom of the vehicle, and the magnet repels against the magnets that form the roadside and streets. Some hover vehicles include hover buses, hover cars, hover motorcycles, and even hover shoes. The hover buses are really important. There's a lot of them because we use them for carpooling. Some companies even buy hover cars so that they can just carpool all of their employees together to work. So this helps save energy. It also helps decrease the amount of pollution in the area because we don't need gas.
So in our city, we have 3 types of power sources. We have our hydroelectricity, our wood power, and we have solar panels that change colors of paint so that you cannot see them, and it makes our city very attractive and
Our Arte Casa has a very symbolic commercial and industrial makeup. We have all of our industries right here. The reason is because if there's a chemical spill possibly, we don't want it to damage our city, so it's across the bridge. Here we have the chemical engineers who help make new types of paint for our city. We also have the design engineers and auto engineers who help make the hover cars. Back to the city, we have the stores, the apartments, the hotels, the shops. We've got the college right here. There's hospital, fire station, police station. So there's many jobs that Arte Casa provides for its residents. But Arte Casa mainly just wants their residents to have a good work pay and just good work.
So all in all, Arte Casa is environmentally friendly and disaster ready, and we hope you can come see it with your own eyes.
Aloha, my name is Carly and I'm the mayor of Aleo. Our city name means underwater tower. We have a population of 10,000 people and are fairly young at only 100 years old, founded in 2015.
Hi, I'm Jacob. I'm the city planner. Our city is very unique in the fact that it is mostly underwater. It's 1 mile off the coast of Oahu, which is the island in Hawaii that has Honolulu, the capital, on it. It sinks 1,150 feet into the Pacific Ocean and then sinks up 15 feet out of the water and then kind of flattens at the top and has an encasing around the flat part so that we can fill it with soil and fertilizer and we're able to farm. The city itself is split into 5 domes, but we focused in on one of the domes only, which is the middle dome, which is slightly larger which means that we can fit our water treatment plant, our power hub, and our NFL stadium in it. And over here we have our industrial zone, which is slightly larger than the other dome's industrial zone because this dome is slightly larger, so we're able to make the industrial zone slightly larger. The industrial zone itself is mostly high-tech and manufacturing industrial because we can't produce a whole lot of pollution, air pollution, because we're inside an enclosed space. And air pollution is bad enough when you're outside and it's not enclosed. When you're enclosed, it's concentrated and it's really, really bad for the citizens. So instead, we try to manufacture products that don't create a lot of air pollution. Products, once they're made, they're transported along our tube here, which is our transportation system here, which is our area, our commercial center, then up this elevator here, and then run along to our seaport here. This building here is our commercial center, which has stores, office space, gyms, everything that a citizen could want in a commercial area. And these 4 buildings here are residential apartment buildings that have varying costs of apartments for all different wealths and low wealth, middle wealth, high wealth people.
Hi, my name is John. I'm a citizen in the city, and as you can see, there's no cars or roads. The main transportation is the public transportation, which would be the green tube going throughout the city, and it makes it easy for the citizens to get to work on time and to get all the supplies needed for ordinary day-to-day life.
Now, our city is not only designed creatively, but we host the very first ever Hawaiian NFL team, the Lalo Jellyfish, who played in our Man-O-War Stadium named by our city planner. Now, we need power so that we are able to have these games and have all the lights and flashing boards. To get this power, we use hydroelectric power. We put turbines in Pacific Ocean currents, and they turn to help us create energy. We have multiple and scattered around to make sure that we get the maximum amount of energy. Now, we need fresh water to drink, and we get that in an even more interesting way. We use heat distillation to take the salt water from the ocean that surrounds us and evaporate it, leaving behind the salt. The salt that is left behind is then exported and is one of our city's main exports. Now, when the heated water rises, it hits the ceiling and condenses, then runs along its slant and into the collection tank. From the collection tank, it is run through the normal filtration system to ensure maximum cleanliness before being distributed among the Lalo citizens.
Earlier, Jonah mentioned our transportation system that we have nicknamed the Tube for obvious reasons. The way the tube works is outside of a building or station, it moves 40 miles per hour to make sure people get to where they're going on time. But when it goes into one of these buildings or another station, it slows down to 4 miles per hour, moves along a walkway, which also moves at 4 miles per hour. So all people have to do is step onto the walkway and move along with the train until they're able to step onto the train, and then they can sit down and enjoy the ride to whatever destination they're going to. One question a lot of people ask us, though, is how we get our air, which is quite simple considering we're not actually fully underwater, but we still need to circulate the air so people have fresh air and not carbon dioxide polluted air. So what we do is we take old air and pump it out through this pump house and then pump in new air from this pump house.
One of my worries when I first moved to the city was the fact that I left family behind on Oahu, but I was quickly reassured when I learned that citizens can, whenever they wish, visit the seaport to travel back to the island, as well as the tube runs all the way to Oahu, which is only a mile away. And you might be wondering how the citizens get vitamin D, seeing as since it is so far underwater that sunlight can't penetrate that deep. So in each of the domes there are ultraviolet lights hung from the ceiling to provide adequate amounts of vitamin D for the health of the citizens.
Now, the final thing we'd like to talk to you about is our dome. There are many concerns when it first opened that the dome would crack, but we used the best material engineers, structural engineers, and civil engineers to make sure it had the maximum strength. We also have electronic sensors all along it to detect any imperfections in the glass or any places where it may crack. It is also inspected weekly to make sure that no cracks have formed. cracks have formed and eluded the electronic sensors. So that in the case of that it would crack, we have air supplies in the buildings and airlocks on top of it, so that the buildings can be locked down and people are kept safe until submarines can come along, attached to the top of the building, and help evacuate people. Now, I think that's all the time we have. I hope you'll come and visit our city soon, and I'd just like to say aloha.